Good day. We are here again. And in one of my favorite places, talking to you. That's how it is for me. I find these times refreshing and amazing and wonderful. And as we pray over each time we do this, and we wish the wisdom to be pertinent for the time period. That's what we do. Now, we do know that there's a lot going on in our little world and a lot of things happening. So a proper wisdom at the proper time creates so much clarity and the ability to be able to navigate what is before us. And as I was praying and thinking, I was attempting to figure out what are we required to talk about. We've talked about a lot, but what's this new piece of wisdom that would be useful to you? When I did that, what came forward was very interesting to me the way that it was said. It's just a question of a talk about how we receive and how we give wisdom. It may sound, well, that's something I think I know I'm doing okay. Well, we give wisdom with the humility of knowing that it's coming from God. I mean, everything that ever comes through our brain came from God originally. And people go, what about all the bad stuff? I said, that doesn't come from the brain so much as it comes from our heart that has fallen away from God, and therefore it thinks things that are without being of God. If you could look at it this way, a slip of integrity outside of the notions of God, yes, sin. Is it an acronym? Some would argue one way or the other. What I say is a slip of integrity outside of the notions of God. That's what happens. Our integrity goes offline, and we move into notions that God did not wish us to think that will harm us, devastate us, and may even destroy us. So when we work with the area of humility, which is the self-assessment and self-awareness of being open to God's guiding and care and handling, then we can give wisdom correctly and we can receive it the same way. We can receive it with humility and take it to prayer. May not witness with us, may witness with us, but at least take it to prayer. Pray it over before God. Get your assurity and move on. This is the way, if we move through wisdom in this way, when we are given instruction and information, even words that they say come from God, we require to handle it all the same way. Prayer, prayerfully considering and allowing it to settle in our heart one way or the other and moving through that existence. It's pretty well it. And yet, there's probably a million more things to say, but we'll leave it there for now. So, the story is getting quite exciting, isn't it? At this moment, especially. Uh, you know, a beast has appeared, cat-like something. Looks like it's looking for breakfast, and they've had theirs, and we left it there. A lot happened at that breakfast, and I mean, they made, in a sense, some decisions in that breakfast that were about to probably be moved into fruition before said beastie showed up. So let us begin with what's going to happen next. So they're all sitting at the table and they're all looking at the beast going, oh, interesting. But they all start to move. They'll realize that they have to deal with this beast one way or the other. The man that had come from somewhere, the prince, and the lady that had started to heal this entire city, the power and the presence of the one that had created her, all interacted almost seamlessly as if they were being directed by something greater than themselves. I guess you could call that God. The beast was the worst one they fought. Stronger, faster, magic. Yet at the end, the beast was slain. Not in a great and mighty move, in a bit of teamwork. Because it seemed to be able to deflect everything. So one distracted it, the other moved around it, looked like it was coming in, and as it strengthened its shield there, the other one drove the dagger in, and it penetrated. There was a howl that wasn't anything human, and then it fell and ended up stored in her bag as it had before. She was getting to the point where she was realizing, I have to figure out how to sell these things. Can't have them sitting around in my bag forever, although they won't do anything in there. But I'm gonna maybe run out of room at some point. But after this fight, and the details were a blur, so we'll leave them that way. They all realized that what they had been talking about was the next steps, and she looked over where the beast had been sitting, and she saw a rune glowing, a symbol, something. And she felt compelled to go over and touch it. When she did, a huge central building came into place. Not a house, looked almost like an outdoor market in one space, looked like a community hall in another space. It looked like there were offices for, well, city business. She realized, looking at the prince, who looked at her and said, this looks like the place of commerce in the city, center of every city that we've ever inherited. He goes, none of these cities were built by us. We came here explorers, we came here colonists, we also came here conquerors. But that didn't go well. So we'll say we were definitely explorers and colonists because our own world was gone. And those that we call the lawmakers allowed us to land, allowed us to restore somewhat. Nothing like this. We didn't see those runes. We slowly rebuilt things, following the blueprints of what was already there. So maybe we just overlooked it. We don't know. But this is incredible. This is what did exist in the city where we came from and where you landed in. Go to the center of that city, you will find it. It's not used for good right now. As they were continuing to discuss it, and he was moving back to his house, the prince, because he wanted to get this started. He wanted to invoke sanctuary and sanctum over this place. In fact, even though he was going to go and do it in private, he decided to do it in public, right there in one of the offices that he decided would be his. Took out the device that looked a lot more ancient than the tech that she had seen scattered here and there. And he tapped it, and a vision of what she had saw stood in a hologram and going, "What do you wish?" Wasn't a loving, kind thing. It wasn't a terrible, horrible thing. It was kind of a administrative thing. He said, "I wish to take this ruined city that now has walls and make it a sanctuary, a sanctum for people that are dealing with what my people brought and others that followed it." And the vintage, which again is very hard to describe what they look like. Do they look human? Not really. Do they look like anything you could say? Insectoid, this or that? No. They look like them. It's kind of odd, isn't it? To have something that you can't really define. There's no shape that you can really put it to. Like this shape fits. No, that doesn't work. And there was a rumble and a great stone flowed out of the center of that big building up. Obelisk. That's what she thought. This looks like an obelisk. And it was pulsing. And it pulsed 3 times. And this being that was the hologram on this device nodded and said, "It is so," and was gone. Poof. And he looked and he said, "Well, now you have the sanctuary. Let's see what other buildings will recover." And at this point, they heard crying outside the gate. There's at least 3 women. Her hearing had become very acute over her traveling time. She knew it was at least 3 women. Whatever was in the centuries said there are 3, I think you would call them refugees, looking for sanctuary. They are running, and there is a mighty army, if the dust is any indication, behind them. And they all sprang into action and started to head for the wall to lower the ladder to hopefully get these people in before whatever was coming would arrive. Let's leave it there. So let's have a blessing. You know, I think we require one every single day and probably twice a day and 3 times a day being better. I think we require to be blessed, especially by the one that created us, because the one that created us knows us perfectly. Well, he can give us everything we wish. This is a more generic blessing, but it will be painted by God's hand as well. So everything you require will come. And we'll just wrap that wonderful painting in a frame of joy, a frame of peace, interwoven, creating hope and abundance and opening the ability of creativity, ideas, initiation, and imagination, according to the will and the wisdom of the one that created you, God, and your will and wish, if you wish, this can be. If you require someone to talk to, I'm here. It's Eric at starthealing.me. It's Eric at starthealing.me. Eric at starthealing.me. Drop me a line. We'll find a time and we'll talk. Sometimes a conversation changes the world. As we know, some have. Let's have a word of prayer. We come before you, Father, Spirit, Son, and we do not know the days, we do not know the hours or the seconds. You do. You see around corners, you see all of the intention. You see the interaction that caused what we are sitting attempting to understand. You already know. So help us in every single situation. Help us with everything that we are doing. Be with us. Show us what is that next step. As we build a relationship with you, with one conversation leading to another, till we get to know you as well as you wish us to know you. And we get to understand who you really are and how much you do wish to be in relationship with us. So much so that you sent your son to seal that deal, to pay a price that no one could pay, and to bring us home. And what an amazing God you are for doing all of that and all the other things you do that we don't even know exist. And here we are, requiring courage and strength and your infinite grace and mercy flowing over us as we move through each day, pushing back the enemy, helping us to breathe, to see, to know, and to be with you. And so we say thankful, grateful, gratitude, thankful, grateful, gratitude, thankful, grateful, gratitude, standing in awe and honor and respect, allowing all glory to flow to Father, Spirit, Son. This is, and so this is. So you be blessed. When you rest, rest well. When you wake, wake well. And know that your path is lit by God. Blessings all.